Astronomers have patiently watched a fast radio burst for over half a year and discovered a pattern. It's today's Talkin Science Story of the Week with Dr. Brad Tucker and me, Matt Miller.
Across Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts and YouTube, this is Talking Science with Dr. Brad Tucker and Matt Miller.
And Brad, another fast radio burst. It seems that stories of the week happen on Talking Science in threes. This is our second chat about fast radio burst. What's happening?
Yeah, look, fast radio bursts are all the rave, so to speak, nowadays. And that's partially just because, now that we know they're an interesting thing, there's a lot of look and research going into finding them. There appears to be another set that do very distinct repeating. So this one appears to have essentially a cycle of 157 days. So for about 90 days, it's active and going pew, pew, or whatever it sounds like. And then it's quiet for 67 days. And then it repeats that. Things that do these repeats in clear orbits and clear cycles gives very big clues as to what it could be.
And we talked about this last week, that they last for just a millisecond. And your comparison was to put a needle in a haystack on Earth and go to Mars and try and find it. So to find this, another one in a repeating pattern is quite remarkable, really.
Not only do you have to first find it, but then you have to stay on it once you think you know the location. Make sure you tune it into the right frequency, and then just wait to monitor this period to see if you detect it. And if it's a 157-day period, kind of like we were talking about with the exoplanet, you have to wait that long to see the period. You can't take a shortcut. You can't cut that time down. You just have to wait. And it's important to wait, which is I'm glad they've done in this case of this FRB. But otherwise, you miss this valuable information, which gives us really big insight into what it could be and definitely what we think it could not be.
I'm just trying to think of the timeline here to discover that it's repeating on such a large time frame. This FRB was first discovered in 2012 and then was seen repeating in 2016. So what sort of goes into, deciding that we're going to wait 160 or half a year to see if this thing repeats? Are there clues?
Usually not. Usually it's luck. And this is kind of the amazing thing. It's luck and dedication. You detect it in 2012. And then they saw with the, this is the second repeating one. When with the first discovery of the repeating one, people started to think, oh, maybe some of these do go off. So programs were enacted. So people had to schedule telescope time and look at it to see, did any of these repeat? Now, most of them have not. So you point at a telescope or you take a telescope and point it at it and you hear nothing. So this very well could have turned out to be nothing as well. Or they could have been observing it not during the cycle period, right? If it has 60 days of inactivity, you could have just always chosen that 60 days of inactivity and never seen the repeatingness and never seen the extra outbursts. So it's a bit of luck, it's a bit of scheduling, and then a lot of it is just dedication and monitoring lots of these things and hoping one of them does what you think it does.
Now, one of the radio telescopes that is aiding in this research is the Parkes radio telescope from the CSIRO, and also the Tidbinbilla tracking station as well. Not only do they talk to spacecraft, but they're helping out in some of this research as well.
Yeah, the first FRB was discovered with the Parkes radio telescope, and lots of telescopes have been dedicated to doing this. And one of the things people fail to realize about the Deep Space Network is there is a little bit of time allocated for people to do astronomical research as well. And one of the popular ones is to do what we call VLBI, very long base rate interferometry. And that is essentially, if you have lots of dishes separated far out, you can improve your resolution by seeing it kind of from multiple angles or having a wider baseline. And so it allows us to see things clearer and pinpoint the location clearer. It doesn't allow us to see further necessarily, but we kind of get a better, clearer vision of it. And for pinpointing, say, the locations or the sensitivity of the repeating, it's a very useful instrument to be able to have.
And I did just want to mention that Tidbin Billa is part of this as a bit of a shameless plug for my chat on Monday with Glenn Nagel from the Tidbin Billa tracking station, the Canberra Deep Space tracking station, as part of the NASA's Deep Space Network. Deep Space 43 is getting a makeover, and the link is in the video description here on YouTube and, of course, on Trekzone for my chat with Glenn. Very fascinating, and it's fun to have him on the show talking about all these radio telescopes that are doing so much and learning that they are doing astronomy as well.
Yeah, it's it's definitely one of the remarkable things to be and assets to be able to have. And Australia, with just so many different radio telescopes, is able to push the bounds on these sorts of exciting things, which definitely allows us just ways of seeing the universe that we didn't have previously.
Alrighty, Brad. Well, I'm waiting for our third fast radio burst story. I'm hoping you're going to bring that to us next week.
I'll try.